This is the Hanging with A podcast.
What's up? What's up? This is the Hanging with A podcast coming to you always from Brockton, Massachusetts. This is episode 72. The Hanging with A podcast is at 70,100 subscribers on YouTube. As I say all the time, that doesn't happen without the love and support of all of you. So thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, all the things that you guys do for my videos. You can find the Hanging with A podcast on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify. If you are a person that can't watch the episodes, go ahead and take a listen. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Snapchat. You can follow me on Facebook. Like I like to say all the time, the Hanging with A podcast is all over the place. You can also find me Thursday nights with Mario, my boy Mario, my brother Mario, talking hip hop live every Thursday. We haven't been on in a little bit because there hasn't really been a lot to talk about in hip hop. So, but definitely in this summer, catch us on there Thursday on Instagram Live. I have a very, very special guest. It's always nice when I can have my family come on here and talk to me about the wonderful people that they are. I had my mom on here a couple of episodes ago. And everybody loved that episode. So my brother is going to be joining us in a second. But he is means so much to me. I'm so proud of him for the man he is, the husband he is, the father that he is. He's also in the Army, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm just proud of everything that he has been doing. He has been a big supporter of mine from day one when I started this 5 years ago. He still supports me. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you my brother, Justin. What's up, man?
Hey man, you know what's going on, man. Living life and trying to do the best I
That's
can.
all.
That's
That's all
it.
you can do. Tell people who you are, man. For the people that don't know you, who are you?
So, as Abe already said, I'm his brother. Uh, I'm a man of many talents. I can at least say that. You know, I've came a long way from where I was from a child, been in the military now for 15 years and going strong. Just working towards retirement, trying to do something with my life, take care of the family, and make a name for
And there you
myself.
go. And it seems like that is exactly what you're doing, making a name for yourself. How was life for you growing up?
Uh, Being the middle child of the family, it was a lot of, finding myself. I did find myself in a lot of places I shouldn't be at times, and I had Abe there to always have my back and make sure I was on the right path. So I'm definitely thankful for that. But yeah, it wasn't easy growing
Yeah,
up.
no, I mean it wasn't, but we had each other, you know what I mean? Me, you, Jasmine, Darnell. But we had each other and mom did the best that she could do for us. So we
Oh, definitely, definitely.
we didn't do too bad. Um what is like think about like a memory. What's like one of your best memories growing up that we had growing up as kids? What is your best memory?
That's no question right there. I mean, I can honestly say the best memory of my childhood, best memory growing up, has always made our Florida trips down to Daytona Beach, man. I loved going down there to see grandma. I was actually just talking about her last night with my family because she was a big stepping stone, a bigger support for us as we grew up as kids. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think those trips to go see grandma in Florida was some of the best trips. I think having the opportunity to live in Maryland, but also spend a lot of time down south with our family down there, you know what I mean? I think it just gave us a lot of different views on like, family and like, the South, and we were in Maryland. So I feel like we got the best of both worlds, but those was great
oh yeah.
times. So a lot of people don't know this. I don't think anybody knows this besides like people that are are close to me. So I am from Honolulu, Hawaii. So I'm from Hawaii. Shout out to everybody that's
Yes,
from
sir.
Hawaii. If you're from Hawaii, shout out to you. Much love to you. So we grew up in Hawaii. So um, talk to me a little bit about like what was that experience like for you growing up there, and like when you say you're from Hawaii to people, like what reaction do you get? Like what do they say?
Oh, it's crazy, man. Especially, you meet being in the military, you come across a lot of people that are from everywhere. And of course, when people look at you initially, they see, an African American male, oh, you get to talking, age, stuff like that, and you get to your location, where you came from, what's your upbringing. And Hawaii always
Yeah,
throws everybody off. So, like for me, it was definitely a great experience from what I can remember. Of course, I didn't get as much time as I would want to actually say, my true stomping grounds are Hawaii. I would more so say, since we spent most of our time in Maryland, and that's where we kind of dug our feet in at. Maryland for me is more so home than
yeah.
Hawaii.
I mean, for me too. Like like when people ask me like where I grew up and where I'm from, I always tell them like I'm from Baltimore, from Maryland.
Oh,
Because that's where we spent most of our lives at. Hawaii, I think we were there till we were 7 years old, if I'm correct. You know what I
okay,
mean? So I
yeah.
just make sure that I always, make sure I give love to Hawaii, but also let them know that, I grew up in Baltimore as well. Um, so talk to me a little bit, man, about like being in the army, man. Like what has that meant for you, being in the army?
So I'll try to make it short and sweet, because I can go on for days when people want to get me talking about the military. So, uh, first thing I would say, great experience, great opportunity, something that I would never give back, no matter what I've been through in the military, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's what gave me a chance to truly find myself. Um, it took me a lot of places. It gave me a lot of experiences and put me around different people that I would never would have got a chance to if I would have stayed in Maryland, or would have stayed in Hawaii, or I would have stayed anywhere else that we were currently staying. So it is what you make
Yeah,
it. At the end of the day, the military is definitely what you make it and what you try to get out of it. So if it's school, go for school. If it's traveling, go for traveling. But for me, it's definitely a core memory of what made me who I
yeah,
am today.
yeah. Um, what? So like, your early life in the army. Like, talk to me a little bit about your early life in the army. You go get your GED. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You say, you know what, I'm going to be in the army. This is what I want to do. What was like those first couple of years, like that first 1 or 2 years, like what was that like for you?
It was honestly a shell shock. When you take somebody that never really had too much, we were never struggling by any means. When you take somebody that is used to a baseline life, base level of this, and then you throw them into this thing called the military, it's definitely culture shock. If anything else, it will make you or break you, even from basic training to your first duty station. You depending on your job. Like I had 6 months. I went to basic training. I went to um, advanced training for my job, and then I hit my first duty station. So it was definitely some getting used to. With the way we came up, we had a lot of authority in our life, so adapting to that wasn't too hard. But getting to a place in the country, for me, it was Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Shout out to y'all. Um, it was definitely hard because now you're having to adapt to something that you never
Hmm.
had to. That was my first time being on my own. That was my first time, you know, pretty much becoming an adult and trying to figure everything out. Yeah, I had, my wife there who is my still current wife from the beginning. Thank the Lord for that. But it was still a lot for me because nobody can really tell you, you know, how to go through this stuff. It's something that you have to experience
Yeah.
for yourself.
I tell people all the time, and being a teacher, you know what I mean? Like, been teaching for about just finished, altogether 16 years altogether. So I've taught at many different levels, many different, middle school, high school. But, I remember, when I was a dean about 6 or 7 years ago now, um, I remember having a conversation with a lot of the young people then about being in the army, being in the military. And, I would always bring you up like, hey, this is what my brother does day in and day out. And it's not for the weak. You know what I mean? You have to be mentally and
No,
physically tough to, put your mind and your body through something like that. Some of the things that you've seen, some of the places that you've been, you know what I mean? A lot of people couldn't handle that. So, again, hats off to you for, just being in there, man, and sticking in there this whole time. So, I just think that's excellent.
no, it's definitely appreciated, and I thank you, and I thank everybody out there that doesn't take, the military for granted. Yeah, you might see, nowadays everything's over TikTok and people in uniform are cutting up and not carrying themselves in a proper form. Um, but you also have to look at the side of, when we get a chance to let loose, when we get a chance to express ourselves, that's usually our chance. Besides that, we're very tight knit, groomed to perfection and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it's a very give and take
Yeah,
situation.
exactly. So what do you think? Like what do you think, like, what pursued you to, like, what made you say, you know what, this is what I want to do. Army is what I want to do. I'm going to do this. I don't care what anybody else has to say. Cause you could have did so many other things. But like, why did
Very
you
true.
pursue the army?
So the Army for me was it wasn't my first choice. Like my brother mentioned, I started in Job Corps. High school wasn't for me. I wasn't the kid that you know loved being behind the books, this, that, and third. And I had to get a little nudge from my family to get me through to where I am today. But while in Job Corps, I did carpentry, so that was definitely my first choice of being, a builder. I was good with my hands. I liked the job, very hands-on, very, out there, and you're always doing something different. There's always something to build and something to develop on and go further. So the military was not my first choice, but I would say my push to going was prior people in my family. I lean on them a lot. I have an aunt, I have my dad, I have my grandfather, who has spent, lots and lots of years in the military. And yeah, it was the older days compared to when I got in, but they were able to give me, insight of, this is what you can expect. This is what, the kind of stuff, kind of opportunities you have going through, good and the bad, as everybody should know, anything about the military. Um, you're not always home. You're either in the field or you're on deployment or you're somewhere doing some kind of
Yeah.
mission for somebody. So at the end of the day, they were a big push to me getting in, and it was my chance to find a stable life. I did work a lot of jobs before I joined the military, and that's just because, I have trouble, focusing on certain things. If I do something and I'm loving it for that moment, um, I'm locked in. Let's go. I'm the hardest worker you ever see out there. But once I get bored with it, it kind of comes and goes. So, I did Walmart. I worked at a bowling alley, McDonald's, all the usual jobs everybody hits coming up in the world trying to make a little bit of money. And then, seeing the opportunity to, have somewhat of a stable environment, uh, you kind of figure why not at that point? What could it hurt?
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate you breaking that all down. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, like I said before, you know what I mean? That is what you are out here doing, man. Serving the country and helping and You're a mechanic now in the Army, and you know what I mean. So you've come a long way, man, since you started. Growing up, who were some of your biggest influences growing up?
Oh, no question, man. I got you for sure, hands down. And the people that you surround yourself with made a difference too. You have Craig, you got Vernon, you got Daryl, all them people who
Shout out to all of them.
yeah, definitely shout out to all of them because if it wasn't for y'all, I would have been a little bit far gone than I even could foresee. But definitely leaning in your circle kind of helped me, stay straight. It helped me, get to where I needed to be because y'all were a couple years ahead of me. Y'all experienced stuff that, I was experimenting with, and you knew at the end of the day that wasn't for me. And y'all made sure, you took me under your wing. I was good to go. And then you got, mom. Mom was always there. We had other, major male influences in our life also that made sure that at the end of the day, if we needed advice, if we needed help, it was no question. At the end of the day, they were there to help and support us, uh, regardless of what it
Yeah,
is.
no, I appreciate that very much. I think that shout out, man, to everybody back home in Maryland. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
for sure,
Howard
for
Hills is where
sure.
we grew up. 88, 85 Lincoln Street, where we spent most of our
88,
where we
85
spent
Lincoln
most of our
Street.
childhood. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that may
Oh
still
yeah.
that may live in Howard Hills. Shout out to Savage, Maryland. And all the places that we went to, Patuxent Valley, Hammond High School, and everybody back home. Because I just feel like, that's what kind of like shaped us and shaped out our identity and made us who we are. You know what I mean? Is like just growing up the way we grew up. And
Oh yeah.
again, like, we didn't have the worst childhood. We had a pretty good childhood. You know what I mean? We had friends, and you know what I mean? We had family, and like, everybody was there for each other. So, shout out to everybody back home
Most
in
definitely.
Maryland.
Shout out.
Um,
Yes.
when did you fall in love with hip hop, man?
When did I fall in love with hip hop? Man, I would say from the first time I heard a beat. At the end of the day, for us it was Slick Rick. It was a lot of down south rappers because we got engulfed. UGK and all them. People, Pimp C, all the down south rappers, stuff like that. But uh, you definitely made it uh not a hard decision, but it wasn't really avoidable. You go in our room, growing up, and every CD you could take the paper out of, we had it taped up on the wall. If it's from Jay-Z to
Yeah.
Nas to everything, man. So it was kind of hard not to fall in love with it, but I'm glad that is something that did happen because till this day, I'm always, I can't function without music now. So
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, growing up for us, I mean, that was it. You know what I mean? I had all the Source magazines, I had all the XXL magazines, I had all the Vibe magazines, any hip hop magazine that you can think of, I owned. Any hip hop CD that you can think of, I owned. Tapes, I owned. I just was a lover of hip hop music. And I displayed it, everywhere in our room. You know what I mean? From posters, from CDs to source articles, whatever. You could find all that stuff on our wall. So, that was great memories. I mean, I feel like I fell in love with it when, um, I bought my first CD, and my first CD I ever bought was Jay Z in My Lifetime, and I bought that, and I've been a fan ever since. So that's when my love started. Puff Daddy and the Family, Mace, Biggie, the whole Bad Boy era. I mean, I know like we don't really celebrate Diddy now because of his situation and what he's got going on, but back then, before we knew all of this, he was, that was hip hop. And then you got your Master P and stuff like that, and No Limit. So you know what I mean? It was very,
oh
very, it
yeah.
was very diverse. Um, I think you already answered that one. let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about like marriage because you've been married, to my sister-in-law for a very, very long time. Um,
Let's talk about it, man.
so, what has that been like to you and what does marriage mean to you?
Um, if you asked me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, uh, I couldn't tell you. I was constantly trying to figure it out. Uh, Looking forward in movies, looking forward in songs, looking forward in other relationships and stuff like that, trying to get an understanding of it. But I've come a long way. Marriage to me nowadays means so much, man. Like from the moments you share to the good times, the bad times, the whole nine, and it's not easy. I would definitely say it's not easy by any means and stuff like that, and um, it's definitely a trial and error type of situation.
Yeah. I like what like if you could give some advice to anybody, somebody, what is the key? What's the key to having a long marriage?
So, Key, glad you asked that question. So just to put it out there, I've been married to my wife. We've been together for 20 years from the time that I met her, but we've been married 18 years. 18 years, that's a long time, man. A long, long time. But my piece of advice I would give anybody is
Yeah,
definitely communication.
communication is big.
If 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 you cannot effectively, you can communicate all day, right? People always say, I communicate, I communicate. If you can't sorry, communicate to your partner, I'm sorry to say that you're probably going to fail every time. There is a lot that goes into marriage and learning your partner and learning their personality and learning their likes and dislikes and stuff like that. But anytime that you know you're going through it, anytime you're having a bad day, anytime that you need to hear that right thing, it takes that proper communication to help you through. That is definitely my like piece that I've learned over the years. I've been close, I've been far in my relationship. I won't get too far in detail, but at the end of the day, um, effective communication is what's brought me
Yeah.
back. Actually taking the time to listen. Uh, you're listening to understand. You're not listening to
Mm.
respond. If you listen to respond, then you're not truly listening. If you're not effectively communicating, you're just communicating and nobody's truly being heard. So communication will always, always, always be my number one top big center as far as, marriage or relationship. Uh, Even your first couple of dates, depending on where you're
Yeah.
starting at.
I think, I'm not as public with my, you know, my situations like that, but for those of you that may not know, this is my second marriage. I'm married, to the love of my life now. I was married before, you know what I mean, for whatever, for reasons, you know what I mean. We end up getting a divorce, you know what I mean. Got two beautiful kids out of that marriage, and we co-parent very well together. But I think this time around for me, um, I think just understanding the points of communication, having a foundation, um, and like building a lot of that stuff around that has helped me, have a good marriage and have what I have right now. And again, like, there's ups and downs in every marriage. There's good days and there's bad days, but, um,
Most
you just
definitely, most
have to
definitely.
like, be able to ride it out and, and just enjoy each other as much as possible. But communication that's the biggest part. You got to communicate. So that's beautiful, man. 20 years is a long time to be together. So that's beautiful.
Tell
Um,
me, tell me about it.
so talk to me, man. So, we talked a little bit about marriage. Father, man, what does being a father mean to you? And like, what has that done for your life?
Uh, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I'll never sugarcoat anybody, and people have the other beliefs and stuff like that. But being a father to me is very rewarding, and then sometimes it's very
Yeah.
time consuming. So at the end of the day, when I say that at the end of the day, it's nothing negative. I love my kids very dearly, and I would do anything under the sun for them. But if you're truly being honest at the end of the day, once you have kids,
Yeah.
your life changes. Um, the time gets taken that you used to having, and there's definitely a lot more adapting as the years go on. But I wouldn't take it away for nothing. Having kids has let me experience a different side of myself, a different side of life, um, and a very big eye opener to, other stuff that goes on around me. So I love it. I would never give it back. I have my oldest is 10, Malia. I love you very much. And I have boy girl twins. So you got Jalen and Layla,
Yeah.
both 9. So I would never. I would never give that back. Even on the hardest days when they're driving you up the wall and they're running through the house and they're hyped up all sugar, or they had a good day and good day, bad day, whatever, and they just want to tell you about it, it's always good to stop and hear what they got to
Yeah.
say.
No, I mean, my nieces and nephews, I love you very much. Being a dad for me, you know what I mean, is means everything. You know what I mean? I have 3 beautiful kids. I have my 4th one that's on the way. She'll be here August 15th. You know what I mean? My wife is expecting, so we're really, really excited about that. Um,
Congrats,
but
congrats.
again, like being a dad is like this greatest thing that I've done. I don't think I've done anything greater than being a father, and being there for my kids and loving them the way that I do. And kids, they can drive you up the wall, they can drive you crazy, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything better than being a father, than being a parent, and
Yeah, oh yeah.
having that opportunity um, to watch them grow up has been everything for me. You know what I mean? My oldest is 11, Malcolm, and then my girls are both 7, and then we'll have the baby. The baby will be here, in a month, pretty much, because I mean we're almost at the end of June, so she will be here very soon. So a big family. Big families are the best type of families to have. We grew up with 4. It was 4
Oh,
of us.
definitely.
You know what I mean? And never
Oh,
never a dull moment when you have that many siblings in the house. So um, definitely shout out to all the dads. Shout out, much love to you, and shout out to all the dads that's out there doing, what I'm saying, doing their thing. Um, Hold on. What does success mean to you? Like when you think about success, what does that mean to you?
so through the years, it's been a lot. As a young man coming up, it meant having all the money in the world,
Yeah.
uh, having the ability to buy any car, buy any boat, buy this, buy that, and just flaunt it because that's what most people see nowadays, especially in today's hip hop. People are constantly throwing money. You see it on TikTok, you see it Instagram, you see it all these places. So in the beginning, that was obviously my mindset because that's what I was shown. Nowadays, success to me is putting it all together, having a successful marriage, having a being a good father, being a good example for people around me. Because as some people know, being a leader in the military, you have a lot of
Yeah.
people that look up to you. Um, at the end of the day, they literally lead by your example. So if you're out here being buck wild, and that's what they're going to do. If you're out here showing them, okay, yeah, this is going to suck, but you put your head down, you grind forward, you can get through it. So at the end of the day, success is literally putting everything all together and
Yeah.
making
I
it
mean
work.
that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Just doing what you got to do day in and day out, and
Oh yeah.
just not giving up on your aspirations, on what you want to do and what you want to become. So yeah, I mean I agree with that. What's a quote you live by?
Oh man, a quote that I live by. Lots of them. Lots of them. Lots of them. As a father, I live by the quote of the kid. Your kids don't want you to be perfect. They just want you to be
Okay, I
present.
like that one. I like that one.
You might you can take that you can take that apart piece by piece. Look at how you want to, but it's right there in your face. It's straightforward. Your kids don't want you to be perfect. Your kids don't want you to have all the answers. Um, they don't want you to always have to be the superhero. They want you to be there. So if you can manage that, you can pretty
Yeah,
much anything.
I like that one. One of my favorite quotes is and I say this quote, I've said this quote, what is this, episode 72? I probably have said this quote on half of these episodes I've done. The highest human act is to inspire. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle said that, and I think it's true. The highest human act you can do is inspire, make an impact. You know what I mean?
Oh
Make
yeah,
an impact. As long
yes,
as you're here, make an impact. And I've ever since I've just bought into that. That's all I care about: making an impact, making a difference, changing somebody's life somehow, some way, and not financially, just emotionally, just giving advice, giving free game, helping people out. Um, just being some sort of a symbol of inspiration to the people that are around me. So the highest human act to inspire is one of my favorite quotes. And that's from Nipsey Hussle. He also said, um, how do kids spell love? Time. Time. They just want time. They just want you to show up. They just want you to be there. So when I think about those two quotes for him, those are the two that stick out. Time, how the kids spell time, and how the kids spell love, Time, and then the highest human act is to inspire. So those are my two favorite quotes. Um, your legacy. What do you want your legacy to be when you're no longer here?
um, of course, it's always in the works. But at the end of the day, I could I could probably leave now, and it's pretty much set. I wouldn't say, it's perfect or it's well rounded, this, that, and the third. And because I still have dreams, I still have aspirations of what I want to do with my life and where I want to be, where I want to settle down, what I want my kids to experience and get from me at the end of the day. But I've been working so long and so hard from where I came from that it's a nonstop journey. Um, will it change? Yeah. After I get done with my chapter in the military, which, I only got about 4 years left of that. I'll retire out and stuff like that. Um, it'll change. It'll most likely go from, me selflessly grinding. And I say that, not to say that I let my family fall to the side, but at the end of the day, um, as you know, as other people know who are out here trying to achieve to be great, you have to be selfish
Yeah,
to a certain extent to get where you want to be. You can't sit here and be shy to it. You can't sit here and hide behind this, that, and the third, and say, oh yeah, I got it. I'm gonna get there one day. You have to get out there. You have to get it, blood, sweat, and tears. So, my legacy um, would be to impact somebody to the point that they pretty much emulate me, and not just my son. Like my son is my biggest. Having a boy, you already get that feeling of you have to be perfect. You have to do the right thing. So they're not out here in the streets. They're not out here,
yeah,
thugging it. Running with the wrong crowd and this, that, and the third. So my legacy will be to just leave that imprint, whether it's minor or not, that regardless of what you come across in life, always
Yeah.
remember to be you. And just to dig into that a little bit, so we're not getting too far in the woods with it. Um, always, never forget to be you. You might see this person on TV, you might see this person in real life or famous or this, that, and the third. And don't get lost by that. Um, people tend to get lost behind the blinders of what they see, and they don't really understand like what's going on behind that. So don't think because you're not there yet. Don't think because you don't have that life that you're doing something wrong. If you know you're going in the right direction, whether it's saving money, whether it's working for your kids, whether it's um, anything, your dream job,
Yeah.
keep grinding, keep going. Make sure you're still putting the work in. Every step forward is better than none.
Yep. I agree. I love that, man. That was well said. Thank you very much for sharing that. Um, what would a what would a what would a older version of yourself tell a younger version of yourself? What would a version of yourself right now tell a younger version of yourself?
Uh, first and foremost, my older self now would be beating the crap out of myself for even doing half the crap that I did, skipping school and all this stuff, and um, lying about stupid stuff, and not just doing right from the get go instead of taking the long way around. I think I still got to where I needed to be, or in the right direction where I was going to end up eventually anyway. Um, but something that myself now would tell my younger self is it'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I battled with a lot of, shyness, keeping to myself, very, 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 emotional young man that, didn't know where to put it. Some of that emotion turned into a lot of anger and stuff like that, which led to, accepting whatever would accept me, which it wasn't always good. So it would definitely be, it'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. It'll be okay. Okay. I like that one. 10 people you could invite to a dinner, dead or alive, who you inviting? Yep. 10 people,
10.
dead or alive, who you?
Shoot, man, man, my friend circle ain't even that big,
10
man. Come
people.
on now. 10 people. Let's see. Uh, our family, like for sure, our family that distant, far in between. Uh, grandma, mom, you, Jasmine, Darnell, uh, my wife, grandpa. Um, shoot, the other two, hey, it don't really matter. Um, just family. I want to bring family. My dad, okay, my dad, and then my aunt Chris.
Okay.
So the reason why, I mean, the reason why I pick all those people because at some point in time, every last person that will be sitting at that table, um, was a big influencer for me, for
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
even. Um, and at the end of the day, I would not be the man I am today without any of those people in my life.
Okay.
So
No, I like that. I like that. It's different a lot because usually when I ask that question, it's celebrities. So people would invite, some people say they family, but then you got people that say, people that they really want, like they may want to have a conversation with, which is dope. So
mhm.
I like that I like that you picked family. Two things, last two questions before I let you go. Top five favorite rappers of all time. I mean,
Oh man, this one hurts. This one hurts, man. So my list is constantly changing, And I did put a little bit of thought into this answer because at the end of the day, I'm a very um, purpose-driven uh, lyricist chaser. What I mean by that, you know, it sounds like a mouthful, but what I mean by that is at the end of the day, give me an artist that is rapping about something. Give me an artist that is, you know, trying to make a difference, whether it's through your words, whether it's, you know, helping the community, stuff like that. So let's see. I got Logic. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Uh, John Bellion. Most people, my list is gonna be different than everybody else's out there. So excuse me as I'm reeling these off because these are all people that um, I feel make good music. Uh, but also, like I said, that they rhyme with the purpose. I had the whole list. I'm drawing the blank right now. I'm drawing the blank. I'm drawing the blank, man. I'm
Okay.
drawing the blank.
So you just got you just gonna do those two?
Let's see, let's see,
You
let's see if
got
I
three
can.
more.
Let's see if
Three
I should
more.
have a list here.
You started off strong. Logic.
Uh, and so you got Toby. Uh, what's everybody's name? I don't want to butcher his name. I want. So you got Toby Wigwe. I want to say
Okay.
that's his name. He's a very purposeful rapper. He's a little out there at times, but at the end of the day, I think he, you know, still rhymes with the purpose. He rhymes about, you know, family, finding his queen, um, and also making a difference. Not be a sheep in this world that we call, you know,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody. So
Two
let's
two
see,
more.
two
That's it.
more, two more. Here, I got my list right here. I got my list. I got you, man. I should have
No,
been.
you good.
So here we go. So what should have been the last one? First thing I should have said, and if y'all don't know this rapper, please go check him out. Please, please, please go check him out. Piff Marty. Piff Marty has been uh hitting hard, at least for me. He's been hitting hard as far as getting the message out, especially from the youth to anybody else that's willing to listen. Of, you know, you don't got to fit in. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to be in the in crowd. It's okay to be yourself and find your cool. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If you can wrap that around your brain in your younger days, it'll make, you know, a world of difference as you get older. Of, you don't have to fit in. If you can't find your group, then, you know, maybe you're looking in the wrong place, or maybe in the situation that you're in is your time to put your head down and grind.
Yep.
So you got, let's see. So I said Piff, I said Logic, John Bellion, Toby Wigwe, and you might know this one, Coast
Okay.
Contra.
Okay.
Uh, Coast Contra is another one that I like their flow. I love their wordplay. Reminds me of, you know, some of the older rappers like Clips and you know, all the other rappers that we listen
Yeah,
to
yeah,
coming
yeah.
up. So at the end of the day, that's my top five right now. Now you ask me tomorrow, you ask me
It'll be
next
different.
week,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
might listen. It'll
yeah,
definitely be different.
my list always changes, but I'm right there with you. Just like listening to I listen to a lot of underground hip hop, man. I've had a lot of underground MCs on here. A lot of great underground MCs on here, man. So, you know, I've been blessed and fortunate to come across and go to shows and see underground hip hop, because I feel like underground hip hop right now is the best form of hip hop. You got a few, you know what I mean? Everybody's excited for the Clips album that's coming out. Um, you know what I mean? The way
Oh,
that
most
they
definitely.
rhyme, and it's just not even, you know, it's not even fair and shouldn't even be allowed. You know what I mean? But, you know, music with a meaning is very, very important. And that's what it's all about. You want to hear something that is going to inspire you and push you. Last question, man. What is some advice you would give me?
Um, that's that first. Let me say that's an honor to even ask that question to me because you have been a big, 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 big impact through my life. You've always been there for me. You've always held my head up, even when I frustrated you. Being the younger brother, you've always been there for me. But a bit of advice I would give you is what I would give anybody else is keep grinding. I see what you're doing out here. I see what you're doing with your family, with our family, um, and the influence that you give out. Don't ever let anybody knock you off your pedestal that you're sitting on right now because you yourself come
Yeah.
a long way from a young man that wanted to be a rapper to uh, mature man now that is leading this podcast, which is an amazing thing. I remember when you first started off, it was thought to be just a small project. Oh, this wasn't going to last, or this isn't really going to hit off. This hasn't that,
Yeah.
and look at you
No.
now. You're out here reaching and you know putting your hands on people who need it. Like you said, all the underground rappers of the world, those are the people who are going to be hopefully taking these new rappers' place because we ain't got room for no more new rappers out here trying to make one
Yeah.
hit wonders. All right.
I appreciate that, man. It means so much to me. The advice I would give you is the same thing, man. Just keep being great. Keep being a great husband. Keep being a great father. Keep doing the wonderful things that you're doing. When I bring your name up, when I talk about you when you're not in the room, my face lights up every single time because um, it's just beautiful to watch, man. It's beautiful to watch you in this chapter of your life and knowing how hard it took for you to get to this chapter of your life. So I'm just proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you all the time. I tell you that all the time. Thank you for just always supporting me. Thank you for doing this podcast episode. Um, and just
No
thank you,
question.
man, for just always having my back and always being in my corner and always supporting me, man. So I love you very much, man. And I just want you to, just keep being great, man, and keep being you. Don't change who you are because who you are is phenomenal. And, you don't need to change that. So much love to you. I appreciate you for being a part of episode 72 of the Hanging with A podcast. You know
Episode
what I mean?
7.
I'm almost, not too far away from getting 100K subscribers on YouTube so I can get my silver YouTube plaque. And, it's doing what it's supposed to do, man. All praise goes to God because without him, none of this is possible. So he's making everything move for me, man. So I appreciate that. But I love you, man. And I just thank you, man, for coming on my podcast.
Man, no thing, man. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate being here. I appreciate having this conversation because, like we said before in earlier discussion, this is what is going to leave an imprint on somebody. Somebody's going to hear this. Somebody's going to see this, whether it's people from our childhood, whether it's some stranger out there in the world. Hopefully you take a piece of what we talked about today and you can use it to
Yep.
your best
Yes,
advantage.
sir. But it's a wrap. I love you very much. And I definitely be in touch with you soon. All
All
right.
right, bro, man. Like I said, thanks again for inviting me out. I
No,
appreciate it. As they always say, I gotta send off one. Hey, stay up,
I
stay
love you too,
healthy. Love
man.
you.
Same to you, man. Thank you.